Yeah, I got something exclusive for you guys today. I want to share with you the genuine article. There was a lot of places that Tupac liked to eat when he got out of prison. Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle, a Pollo Loco. But there's a special item while he was in prison that a lot of people haven't seen. Like I say, I got that for you. Let's get into some of the straight game. Check it out.
Life is like cards. It's not what you dealt, but how you play it. Play each situation correctly. I remember they used to laugh at a brother.
Welcome back, guys. Welcome back. It's your boy DELRAY, Richardson, platinum artist, platinum songwriter, Straight Game TV. Thank you for tuning in. I appreciate your time. Do me a favor and hit the thumbs up button notification, as it helps push the content out to more potential subscribers, as well as to the people who are already subscribed to my channel. Also, if you haven't subscribed, do so now, and also tell a friend. But what I like to say most of all, if this is your first time reviewing the channel, please do me a favor. If you want to be one of the first people notified when I drop some of this straight game, hit the bell notification right below this video, and I'm going to get right into it. Ladies and gentlemen, I have an exclusive piece of information for you guys today. It's been talked about over the years, you know, as well as, you know, people who knew Tupac and so on and so forth, some of the places that he liked to eat, right? I remember one place in particular where everybody would go at and hang out was Jerry's Deli. This was off of San Vicente Boulevard, and like I would say Hollywood, LA Hollywood. It was like by Hollywood, near Hollywood. Another spot that everybody liked to eat, as well as Tupac, one of his spots that he liked to eat was Roscoe's Chicken and Waffle. And one of the other more famous spots that's known by most people is one of my favorite places to eat also. And they sell like grilled chicken, rice. They had these like barbecue black beans. I mean, the food was delicious. Is El Pollo Loco. And that was one of the first places that Tupac actually went when he came from prison, right? The first place he went to eat was El Pollo Loco. And I believe that was off of Centinela Boulevard, if I'm not mistaken. And so in LA. And so check this out. And that's not too far from the airport. So check this out. So what I have for you today is the crazy thing about that is when Tupac was actually in prison, right? You know, when you talk about what food he liked to eat and so on and so forth, most people don't know this information right here, but Tupac was actually on a special diet when he was in prison. Yeah, you heard it right here. Tupac was on a special diet, and the diet it was a low fat bland diet, if you will. And so with that, you know, the food that he would eat was basically tailored based on his health condition, and which was basically acid reflux, if you will. I guess he didn't really like the prison food. And so right here you see here's the actual document of the prison. He had to put in a request form basically for his you know, a special request basically for the kind of diet that you want. And based on your religion, a lot of times based on your religion, they would you would have to fill out a form, you know, like if you were Jewish and you wanted like kosher meals and you were in jail, you know, you had to fill out a form for that. If you were Muslim, you know, during the month of Ramadan, you know, and in certain situations from that perspective, you would have to fill out a form. Here's the form right here. And like I said, this is exclusive right here, in Tupac's handwriting, the whole 9 yards. And so basically Tupac basically had acid reflux. I guess he didn't, you know, the food wasn't, you know what I mean, wasn't good for him. You know what I mean? So check it out. They said the City of New York Department of Corrections Nutritional Service Division diet prescription request. Tupac actually wrote this out on it was January 17th, 1995. As you can see, he wrote his name, prison inmate number 7009 400110, male. At the time he wrote this, Pac was 21 years old. Institution, NIC Bing, and diagnosis RO peptic ulcer, some kind of diagnosis dealing with ulcer and stomach and acid and all of that. From that perspective, 5'11", current weight 152, and I guess sometimes and this is the thing, even though Tupac was locked up, he was on his health conscious. He was trying to be health conscious, like I said, because a lot of times the food that they feed you in prison is garbage, right? And so you can see right here, they would give you, how many calories, a person would like to eat or whatever, what they need to evening snack, based on the fact that they might be diabetic, your blood sugar levels. But as you move down here, right, you can see the diet that Tupac was on was actually a low-fat, bland diet, right? So I guess, not a lot of salt, pepper, or spices and things like that. And then you go down to the end of the thing, and it says complete diet prescription request and triplicate. Give inmate original, place 1 copy in dietitian's mailbox located in main clinic, and another in inmate's patient's chart. RB, vegetarian diets are not offered in this DOC system. Kosher and halal meals can only be obtained through the Department of Corrections ministerial service. And so basically what that's saying is like from the minister, your religion, from that perspective, you can only get, if you were Jewish, like I said, once again, or if you were Muslim, you can only, get that through like the minister or the chaplain or whatever. And it says these meals will not be honored if requested by medical staff. So you couldn't go, basically letting you know straight up, you couldn't go through, the doctor and try to get, a kosher meal or halal meal from that perspective. I just think this is very interesting, man. This is a great piece of history involving Tupac. And so it had a beginning and an end date. Then it says, do not add to the above diets. The beginning date was January 17th, 1995, and the end date was February 17th, 1995. And I find this to be interesting. Also, then it's basically signed by the clinician, signature, reference number 325 3B. What I find interesting about this document, man, is that it just goes to show you what Tupac was thinking inside of the jail when he was in jail. Like I said, I don't really know if he had, ulcers or whatever, because sometimes, if you didn't feel like eating of that regular prison food, you could come up with something and if he was cool with the doctor or whatever, or the nurse or whoever, they definitely would write you up a prescription so that you could get a different kind of meal. So like I said, I think this is very interesting. Tupac was 21 years old, and who knew, just like 4 years after this, you know what I mean, that he would be gone. And also, there's another document that I came across, and it was the actual judge's order in regards to when Tupac was released from prison. And here's that document also. I think this is very interesting too, because this was the document that actually freed him from prison. Yeah, what's awesome about the judge's order in the case of Tupac when he got released out on bail, if you read along with me, like I said, Supreme Court of the state of New York, like I told you guys before, the reason why it came from the Supreme Court was because of Tupac had to appeal. The original judge actually denied him the ability to get out on bail as soon as he was convicted. Not bail, but an appeal bond, if you will. Still bail, but it's an appeal bond. But they requested that as soon as Tupac got sentenced, and the judge said no. The judge in that case said no. So he had to wait. That's why he couldn't actually get out of jail right away. Most people thought that Interscope and them didn't want to get him out of jail. It wasn't that they didn't want to get him out of jail. It was the fact that he had been denied an appeal. So that's why this order right here came from the Supreme Court of the state of New York. Basically, the county of New York, people versus state of New York against Tupac Shakur, defendant, New York County, indictment number 11578/93, which was the year. The Honorable Ernest H. Rosenberger having issued an order dated October 10th, 1995, and then Tupac was actually released on the 12th, granting the defendant Tupac Shakur bail pending the determination of his appeal in the above referenced matter, the bail order, and bail having been posted with clerk of the Supreme Court. New York County, which sufficiently meets the terms of the bail order, it's hereby ordered that the defendant, Tupac Shakur, be released from the custody of New York State Corrections Department pending the determination of his appeal in the above referenced matter and pursuant to the terms of the bail order. Dated October 11th, 1995, and signed by the Honorable, should I say the clerk, should I say Arlene R. Silverman. And what's interesting about this document is that, a lot of people had talked about the different stuff that they talk about. Like I say, the truth of the matter is Tupac was denied bail. That's why they didn't get him out sooner, if you will. And so he couldn't get out. So people were saying, oh, they didn't go get him out and they didn't do this. And then we know now that Interscope as well as Atlantic Records put up the money. Suge was the catalyst. You know what I mean? You definitely can't leave Suge out of the situation from that perspective. And this is the actual bail order that the judge put forward. And like I said, and when you deal with, if you notice in here, what she's saying is, she said, and bail having been posted with the clerk of the Supreme Court, basically, and it's saying that, New York County, which sufficiently meets the terms of the bail order, because once again, I told you guys that Tupac needed a cash bail. They weren't taking property. They felt like he was a high risk for whatever reason that was. But yeah, your boy DELRAY, straight gang.